I think the reason I like birds is it's a more peaceful job. You know, ducks and geese are really quite quiet and you don't take any hassle from them. I think it gives you a more peaceful frame of mind yourself.
Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Come on. Come on, boys. Come on, boys.
I have lived here all my life. I live about 25 miles away. It's about 4 miles the other side of Cumber. I was born where I live now at the minute.
Come on, boys. Come on, ducks. Come on.
I stayed at school until I was 16. I done CSEs and I got mostly grade 2s in them. I didn't like school. I hated school. And I attended school all right, but I just didn't like it. I think it was really just being indoors all the time. You know, as soon as I got home, I didn't do homework. I went out horsing, riding horses and fiddling about outside.
Cold this morning.
Yeah, it's freezing. Maybe warm up. Well then, Michael, can I borrow the tractor to take around Graham?
There's not very many routine jobs here I have to do other than duck feeding. Usually the first thing I do in the morning is I wait in the yard until the estate foreman comes in.
Maybe you can get Brian round to help me with those posts. I need about a dozen.
Now he really has no connection with my job, but if I want to borrow the tractor, someone to help me with work or borrow tools of any kind of him, I ask him.
Okay, so we'll just walk. If we walk down quietly, there's quite a few ducks and geese up, and if we be quiet, they'll probably stay in. Do any of you children know?
Most school parties are all right, though country children are out more and they ask you questions about wildflowers and, well, weeds, if you like to call them that town children come in and they don't even notice.
These geese over to the left here are barnacle geese, the ones with the cream-coloured heads. The very, very first
I think country children are more, they ask you more questions like, where do certain ducks nest and when do they breed? Whereas town children just sort of ask you the name of it and that's it, and then forget about it.
235.
Which ones are the male?
Most ducks, the males are always the coloured birds.
I do prefer being on my own, most definitely. I like it when I can say come over to the collection and work there all day by myself. I don't have anybody to talk to or anybody to sort of listen to or anything like that. It is surprising what heavy work there is to do. If there's something I really decide I can't lift, then I do get help. I'm able to do most of the heavy work myself. I never drove a tractor until I got here. I picked it up quite easily. I can reverse it with loads of logs on and reverse it round tight corners.
Oh, I think we have a tree creeper. Good.
What we do is we get some black nylon mist nets, are called, and put them up across the passage where birds fly. And we catch birds like chaffinches, robins, wrens, garden birds in these nets. You do have to train to put up nets and take birds out of nets and ring, and at the minute I am a trainee. The idea is just to get them, put a ring on them, weigh them, take their wing measurement, sex and age them, log it into a book, then we just release it, and it helps us to know where certain birds go, say in either the summer or the winter. The satisfaction I get from this job is on a lovely morning when you come down past the lake, first of all just the view, the scenery. This time of year the colours of the trees, that to me is satisfaction enough.
How do you age these?
The bad bit about it is sometimes you have to kill birds if they get diseases or dying for one reason or another. You have to wring their necks. Certainly the nice thing about it is just being outdoors, being able to hear the birds and see the scenery.
This house is about 200 years old. Lead is usually used on the old houses, although some have some copper roof and some have some aluminium. At the moment, I'm fusing the two pieces of lead together. I went to a local comprehensive school in the village where I come from, Flatwell Heath, which is about 8 miles from here. And when I left the school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I went to work for my father for a while, and we came to West Wickham to do a job for the National Trust under subcontract work. And while I was doing the job, I heard of the apprenticeship going for a plumber, so I applied and luckily enough got the job. I go to college every Tuesday on a day release system to get the City and Guilds papers at the end of it, the end of the 3 years. Working out of doors appeals to me because I suppose just because I like the fresh air and to see things around me, better than being stuck in a house with 4 walls. It always seems to be the same inside, whereas when you're outside it changes wherever you are. We have to go up and clean all of the gutters and all of the properties we look after, and just sweeping leaves to just keep them clear so the water doesn't build up and seep up through the joints. And this is one of the more tedious jobs that a plumber has to do. A lot of work involves climbing up on the scaffolding for a plumber and up ladders, like guttering and lead work. It doesn't bother me at all, but if you want to be a plumber, there's no way you can be scared of heights at all. We do a fair amount of specialised work on the old houses, but usually it's more repairs than actual installation of new stuff. We just have to patch up the old stuff. I find working on the old houses a lot more interesting than on the new, as in there's more history and you're learning how to do things the way the old craftsmen used to do it. I find lead work more interesting to do than just the normal plumbing installations, as in hot water cylinders and internal plumbing. When working with lead, you should really make sure you've got somewhere to wash your hands before you eat or before you go home, because with the lead particles, they can't be absorbed through the skin, but if they get in your mouth and absorb through your stomach, they can be fatal. The lead pots come from the Cliveden estate, which is in Taplow near Maidenhead, and as of yet I'm not able to repair them, but hopefully in a year's time, when I've had more experience and have completed my apprenticeship, I should be skillful enough to repair urns like this, if there's any about at that time.
Yes, you can pick them up while we've got the light here, yeah. Yes.
First thing to do is I'm going to have to lay off the station if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's no problem. We've got time to do that. Cathy can be...
I come from a small town called Markinch in Fife, in Scotland. Yes, I've got to check on the girths of those giant red. The garden survey is basically a complete survey of all the trees and shrubs in the National Trust gardens in England. This is a team effort done by a botanist, a land surveyor and occasionally a historian. Our aim is to identify and catalogue each tree and shrub of interest in the garden. None of my family had ever gone to university before, so I thought that, this was a bit strange. What was university about? I didn't know, and so I didn't think to apply, and it was the careers advisor at school who suggested that I apply. And I'm glad she did advise me to do so, because I really enjoyed university. I got a second-class honours degree in botany at Edinburgh University.
I'll set up my survey point here, okay?
Well, this particular redwood, it was planted in a very wide open space in the early 1900s because they didn't know how big it was going to be. And so it hasn't suffered very much from overcrowding.
Yeah, okay.
First of all, we go around systematically numbering the areas with these small metal tags, which usually have a 4-digit number. Your tree number's 2803.
2803.
And it's a Sequoiadendron giganteum. We try to always girth at a height of 1.5 metres, because when the Forestry Commission girth trees in order to age them, they always girth at 1.5 metres. If a tree grows in a very dense area, then the tree will grow tall very quickly and have a narrower girth than a tree growing in a wide open space would. And this makes it difficult to age it. Your girth is 6 metres 40.
640. Yeah.
An approximate height of 1.5 metres.
Yeah.
We discovered that Kew Gardens had done a woody plant catalogue in several National Trust gardens, including Sheffield Park. It was decided that we would only survey the trees and shrubs, the shrubs that were of notable value, perhaps because they were ornamentals or they were particularly good colours. This still amounts to over 4,000 entries in the catalogue. I'm not sure how many species that would be, but I reckon it's somewhere about 300 to 400.
You'd like to go on the staff, Kathy?
Yeah. When I first came to Sheffield Park in Easter, I only knew British native trees because that was all I had covered before, either at university or in my last job doing a wildlife survey.
8, vertical, 87, 18.
Each
24.
tag number is plotted on a large scale map. Although this one isn't of Sheffield Park, it's very similar. The information on the field sheets is a bit bulky for typing into a computer record because it would take a long time to type in information for 4,200 entries. So we do what we call coding up. This means that the information such as the name of the plant, its height, its girth, its density are all coded up using letters and numbers. The code perhaps for a willow, which is salix, would be SAL. It's very simply the first 3 letters of the name of the plant. That means that when we type in the entries, we merely type in a series of letters and numbers, and the computer fills in the rest. When the information is printed out at the end, it's printed out in longhand by the computer printer. Once you've finished the field work at the end of the summer, and you have to code up 4,000 odd entries for the computer, that's an awful lot of paperwork, and it is very boring. But it's got to be done, and it's nice to see it all printed out at the end, and to see that it's all finished and wrapped up. I was very glad when I got this job because I'm strictly a botanist. I thought that some experience in horticulture would be useful because eventually I'd like to have my own market garden. And that's my big ambition, and so some experience in horticulture is very useful for me.
It's a Manpower Services Commission scheme. They pay the National Trust for works that are for the public good, to do works that have needed doing for 70, 80, 90 years even sometimes.
I know exactly what you mean.
And we're up in the fell at the moment doing a conservation scheme, which is very bad erosion due to a lot of people walking up and down all the time. Well, I went through the normal grammar school education system. I got 7 O-levels at the completion of it, and I started an A-level course and didn't really get on with it very well. I wasn't terribly interested in it, so I switched to a engineering course at a College of Technology, which was 2 years, and I ended up with an ordinary national diploma in engineering technology. I was, like most students, I think, at that age, very, very uncertain. It's very difficult to tell people at that age what a job's like. Job counselling, I think, goes very much on what you're good at and not so much on what you're really interested in. Or I found this out in hindsight. So I really was sent along the lines of what my family have done before me, which was in the engineering field. And because I didn't have any really strong ideas of what I wanted to do, it seemed a fair enough line to go along. But it's only since having gone out into the working world that I've changed my mind on that particular subject. Because it's such a well-used path, hundreds of thousands of people a year go up that particular route, and consequently we've had a very bad erosion on one particular side of the gill. So our particular job is to lay a new cobbled path. What the cobbling consists of is really finding stone that has a good top surface for walking on. This one. And is deep enough to be able to lay into the ground so that it's not going to kick up. And this is going to go on all the way from the bottom to the top. It's going to take, we think, about another 10 months, possibly, to complete that particular job. You have to work very closely with Mike, the supervisor, of course. He teaches us individually as well, as much as he possibly can. It's an old craft, an old art that's, I think, dying out, really. It's not something that is taught at school or anything like that, so it really has to be passed down from father to son type of thing. So Mike is really doing the same thing, although we're not exactly his sons on the job. You don't really need any formal qualifications. What they're looking for, this outdoors type of work, is a person who is physically capable of doing the work, because some of it is very, very difficult and very heavy type of work. Other than that, the other most important thing is to be able to get on with the people you're working with, because you're working in such a small group and out in such isolated places. I mean, if you don't get on with the people, then life's going to be absolute hell for you all the time. We have to work out in all weather conditions, be it snowing, raining. We've just gone through a very hot summer, and some of the days were immensely hot. It's very, very physical. The hours are long under those circumstances. They're no longer than any other particular type of job, for example, say in industry. But when you're physically exerting yourself for 8 hours a day, you go home really feeling that you've done an awful lot of work. And if the conditions aren't bad, freezing or raining, it's just no joy at all. My physical condition now is vastly different from when I first started. Right.
Well, when you get a lot more fillings in there, Phil.
I knew very little about the countryside when I came. I know a good deal, or a layman's amount of knowledge, shall we say, about the countryside now. It's broadened my outlook on the country pursuits. You tend to think, when you're at college, of going on to industry. Very little else apart from industry. But there's a world of jobs outside industry that you don't really think about. I've just happened to fallen into one by chance. There isn't too much evidence of the modern world up in a place like this. So you get this constant feeling of the way the old farmers and the old people years and years ago used to live in this area. And the kind of work that we're doing anyway is a very old-fashioned type of job, with the dry stone walling and the cobbling on the paths. And it's that sense of having done a job that was done exactly the same way so many years ago, the sense of history, in fact, that makes the jobs very interesting.